Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got what nobody says about marrying a foreigner until it's too late. This is from Ramsey Travels. He does a bunch of great videos on Thailand, living abroad, visa stuff, all the sort of mechanics of that. Marrying foreigners, dating. He does some great videos on that stuff, so I would go check his channel out. I know I talk a lot about dating abroad and Christian men dating abroad and trying to find wives overseas, but I do want to present both sides, that it's not the easiest thing to do in the world. It can be challenging. I'm in a long distance relationship right now with someone else in a different country. So there is a lot of challenges there, and being with a foreigner can be difficult. And so I want to present both sides of this thing, and he's going to talk about some of the difficulties here, just so you know when you're making an informed decision. So let's jump into the video.
Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is pros and cons of marrying a foreigner.
All right, let's have him get to the points.
A lot of research before you even start to get involved in this, and talk to actual guys who've done the exact thing you're doing, the country from where you're from to the country you're importing from, to find out the hurdles that are there, and there are numerous.
Yeah, do your research, guys, before you fully commit into marriage. Figure out what you're up against, what you're gonna have to do, and see if it's worth it for you. It might not be worth it for every guy. I think it's crossed over to a point where it's more worth it for you to do now than ever. But if it's not, then that won't be your thing. But just understand what you're doing before. Ask people for advice. Ask guys who've done it. See what the challenges are ahead before you fully commit to that decision.
The next one is an obvious one, but I think most guys don't realize the effect. It's language. When I met my wife, I spoke very little Spanish, and she spoke almost no English. And here we are 10 years later, and my Spanish is fluent, but I promise you, on a daily basis, there is some small misunderstanding. There is some cultural issue, because not all, and everything translates exactly the same. I will walk the dog might not mean I will walk the dog. So basically, you are in a lifetime pretty much of misunderstandings, being uncomfortable, not being able to defend yourself, not being able to explain the situation so it doesn't become a problem, on and on and on.
Yeah, this one's very true. And luckily, I have a girlfriend who speaks fluent English, so this isn't an issue for me. But I know for a lot of guys, yeah, if you're going to go to another country where feminism hasn't infected it, there's likely not a lot of English speaking. So you're going to either probably have to learn a new language, and even then, it's going to be very difficult because they're probably not going to know a lot of English. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of miscommunications. It's going to be difficult at times. It's going to be a lot of using translators. And that just stinks. To me, that's kind of like part of the fun, right? That's part of the fun. But I can understand over time that could get kind of grating and difficult, and be a bit of a barrier when talking to their family as well. So just keep that one in mind.
So be very aware that I see a lot of to this I still haven't figured out. I think it's either they're just giving up, or it is what it is, the best I can do. But I'm stunned by, even like in Thailand, which my last place I lived abroad, the amount of couples I see out who can't communicate. And it's just a lot of pantomiming and small words. Hungry? Dinner? Yes? Okay. And can you get by? I guess, but honestly, kill me. It is.
I mean, that's we know how some of those relationships are set up in Thailand, but I guess love can conquer all in that situation. But no, in all seriousness, you're going to want to make efforts to learn the language, to try and communicate at a deep level with your future spouse. Don't think you're going to get by just by miming and stuff. I don't think that's a good strategy.
Bad enough for me, because I want to have intelligent, deep conversations with my spouse. To live out.
If faith is going to be the most important part of your relationship, you can't get by with that. You're going to have to learn how to communicate at some deeper level.
The rest of my days talking to each other like we're 2-year-olds who just learned a few words. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I mean,
All right, what's his next
those
point?
Differences. The next one is cultural differences, and this could be a variety of things. Now, I know this is one of the reasons usually people put in the pro column, right? It's going to expand my horizons. I'll learn more about a different culture, and that is true.
This one is a pro and a con. The cultural differences can be fun and can be inspiring, and can add another fun layer to the relationship, but also can be tricky at times. For example, I had a situation where I was in Korea. I went to my first Korean wedding, and I didn't know that basically when you go to Korean weddings, you always bring the gift is essentially cash, right? And like it was for an employee that I barely knew. And so in American weddings, it's like if you're close to the party, you might send a gift on the registry or something, or if you're really, really close, you might bring, but like most of the time, like you usually just show up if you don't know much about the person. But Korean weddings, it's very serious. You bring cash. And so I showed up and I'm like, I didn't have any cash. And then my girlfriend goes to me, okay, so where's your envelope of cash? I'm like, what are you talking about? My envelope of cash? I'm just showing up to a wedding for a coworker I've known for a month. And so there are some funny cultural things that will happen and they're unavoidable. To me, it adds a layer of fun to it, but it can become, annoying at times.
But also, there's going to be a lot of parts of those cultures that are not going to be comfortable for you, that you're not going to be, you're not going to understand, and it may take you a while to understand. And even if they frustrate you or you don't like them, odds are you're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to go with the flow. You're going to have to adapt to that culture. So, again,
you have to adapt to the culture. If you're in that country, the culture will not adapt to
this
you.
will vary. If you're, from the U.S., you marry someone from the U.K., there's cultural differences, but you're still kind of on somewhat even playing fields. If you, are from the U.S. and you marry someone from, rural Laos, I mean,
yeah, Asia is just a different planet, guys. There's differences between U.S. and Latin America for sure, but U.S. and Asia, it's a different world.
There's a lot to bridge there, and unless you're just a masochist who's just decided to go backwards in time and backwards in so many ways, it's probably not going to work. It's going to end up being a problem. The next is one of the biggest reasons, and one people misjudge. Guys just haven't, it's financial responsibility. Now, this is multifold, and this is where guys get this wrong. You may think, okay, I know she didn't have any money or a lot of money when I married her.
This is one that I'm not really dealing with, but I know is a big concern for guys going overseas, and it's a legitimate one, is that if you're coming from a more developed country and you marry or in a relationship with someone where, that place is not economically as well off, you will have to bear a lot of the financial responsibility of taking care of their family. And that's kind of a part of a lot of the package deal. So consider that hard before you maybe watch this section. I'm going to jump to the next clip. Consider that one hard. Are you willing to provide financial responsibility and assistance for her and a large part of her family and extended family for as long as you guys are together? For a lot of relationships, make sure you're okay with that.
You're going to opt out. No, I checked the box for no financial support. I'm good. Thank you. Doesn't work that way. The next is an age gap. 99% of these relationships I see when a foreigner, when a foreigner or an expat marries someone in the country, they're always younger. And most guys, that's what they're looking for. There's not a whole lot of...
Now, if you're on the younger side already, you're in your 20s, early 30s, a 10-year age gap to the early 20s or mid-20s, not a big of a deal. He's talking about guys who are like 60, 65. They're going to Thailand, Philippines, and they're marrying 20-year-olds. There's 40, 45-year-old age gap. That's not really the crowd I speak to. But, if that's you, look into this. But even age gaps of 5+ years, there can be maturity differences. Just consider those things. But, for a lot of the age gaps you younger guys will deal with will not be as big of a concern.
65-year-old guys going to Thailand looking for a 65-year-old Thai woman. In fact, does anybody know one? Does anybody know? Did that ever happen in history? Do they get the plot?
But if you're an older guy, the closer you can be in a relationship with a woman that is closer to your age than not, the better odds, I think, of that relationship being authentic. Let's say you're a 50-year-old guy and you are in a relationship with a 40 or 35-year-old, Filipino, East Asian, Latin American woman, whatever. That's got a much better chance of lasting and being something that's real than you're 16, she's 20. Like, do you really think that's as authentic? It can happen, but the odds are not in your favor.
Okay, age difference. I mean, my wife is 10 years younger than me. And in my personal opinion, everybody's going to be different. And yes, the age I met her and the age we are has a lot to do with this. That's the max for me. Because even at 10 years, in addition to those language barriers and cultural barriers we have an age difference, right? And 10 years may not seem like a lot, but just think of what your interests were and what you were doing in your mental state 10 years ago. We matured. And so there's...
Yeah, heavily consider this one, guys. So he goes on for age gap for a while.
And I did not want any more children under any circumstances, no matter who was with.
He talks about the children issue as well. If you're a Christian guy, you should want, children in most normative circumstances. So make sure the woman you're dating
Always
wants
had
that
the
too.
question, no matter how good it is it money or is it love? When you come into a relationship with this much, difference from one socioeconomic and one financial standpoint to the other, no matter how good it is, no matter how much she loves you, I believe, I 100% believe my wife loves me. I believe she's faithful. I believe she's in this marriage for all the right reasons. There's still that lingering that, if I wasn't financially better off from her when I met her and all these, 10 years of being together, would she have stuck around? That's not going to go away. That's the game you stepped into when you did that. So again, one of those things you might not think of up front. We all get giddy in the beginning. We all get excited, and we all don't see all those red flags. So just think about that and think about, is that something you're always going to be?
I think 4 things to mitigate this, which is the ones I talked about. 1, the closer they are in age, the better chance that's not happening. 2, if you don't lead with your wallet, there's a lower chance of that happening. 3, if you make faith the center of your relationship, and this is why I think my approach is a superior approach to dating overseas. If you make faith the center of your relationship and not you leading with your wallet or these extraneous things, the center and the core of it, then you have a better chance of avoiding that. And then 4, giving it time. Okay, not rushing into something, taking your time with it, really asking deep questions, learning the language. It's going to help you mitigate those things.
To be okay having in the back of your head, no matter how much you think she loves you. All right, a lot of negatives to start the first, most of this video with. I'll tell you the positives, and then I'll give you my summary of why I think actually the positives not even relative. One of the positives is, yes, when you're in some of these countries, you are getting a more traditional woman. My wife is certainly that case. My wife, keeps a sparkling home. She's a great, mom to our doggies there. She takes great care of me old school wise. And unlike maybe the Americans I've dated in the past, even when we're arguing, even when she's had enough of me, even when, things are not in a good spot, she's not telling me to go make my own goddamn sandwich and sleep on the couch. That don't happen. That would never happen with me. I'm stubborn. But bottom line is, she knows that, hey, Ramsey doesn't stop paying the bills when we're fighting. Ramsey doesn't stop taking care of my family when we're fighting. He doesn't stop doing his part of the, this responsibility. She has a job in this world, and her job is to take care of our family, take care of us. And somehow, a lot of these countries, that stays ingrained in them more so than you would see in a Western country. So yeah, if you want something a little more traditional, and that's what my, thinking a traditional relationship is, then you'll probably find that there.
Yep. So you heard it from him yourself. You're going to find that much easier, in these other areas if that's what you are interested in. So there it is. He spells out for you guys. You need to make that decision for yourself, determine if it's worth it for you. I think the pros outweigh the cons in a lot of situations if you play your cards right and if you're strategic about this. So let me know in a comment down below. Do you think it's worth it to be in a relationship with a foreigner, marry them, have a family with them? I want to hear your thoughts or experiences down below in the comments. To help keep the channel going, hit the like button, subscribe. You know what to do. Thank you so much for watching. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.